Hey, you guys, thanks for stopping by. I'm Coffee, and I wanted to bring you an idea that I had. So, when Bethesda brought us the raids, I was on a personal level, adamantly against doing the raids. Ask anybody that knew me, and they'll tell you I was not doing the raids. I am a very casual player, and I would prefer to just go find a bunch of loot and go build a camp. That's my happy place. Um, but in the end, I did actually decide to reach out and have somebody help me get a team together, and I did a raid. And it went something like this that you're watching here. Now, the thing is, I do have to eat my words because, in the end, when you're raiding with people that you know and you're in voice chat and you're just hanging out having a good time, the raids, it's not about what you're doing, it's who you're doing it with, and you're having a good time and just enjoying the company of each other, laughing, cutting up, having a good time. So, in that aspect, I do have to eat my words. However, when I'm out there running around by myself and my friends aren't available to play, a lot of times I find myself getting to a point, well, I have enough scrap built up to build, and I've done all my quest work, which is a feat in and of itself with as many characters as I have. But when you've got your quest work done and you've leveled everything up and you're not worried about what your armor is like and what your weapons are like, what your card loadout is like, you're not a hardcore player. You're a casual player. You get to a point to where there's really nothing left to do after the dailies and the weeklies unless you go to events. And personally, I don't even find events very fun unless I'm with my friends. I'll go to them just because I can and it fills the time, it gives me something to do. But I would like to see something in the game that's added for endgame players that are casual players, because you know what? At the end of the day, isn't it just as important to keep the casual players in the game as it is the hardcore players? So, with that, I got to thinking, what would be something that Bethesda could put into the game for the casual player? Because let's face it, instead of saying that I have an issue with the game, because let's face it, that's a pretty negative mindset, and then it puts everybody in a negative mindset. So let's offer an idea, a solution to not necessarily a problem, but the issue that you have, right? So when we start the game, we start out at Vault 76. And we're prompted to go down the hill and find Wayward. Now, some of us get lucky and we find that little abandoned shack that gives you the key and it then prompts you to go to Vault 51. Some of us find the lumber mill. But then we go on and we find Wayward. And when we meet Duchess, she sends us to go and find the thugs that are harassing her. Okay? So we go up to the lumber mill up north and we talk to them, and then we come back and she sends us to find Saul and Polly. Well, when you come to the Wayward, it starts out looking like this, and then you go and find Saul and Polly, and you find Polly's body, and you go and you find Crane's treasure, and then you come back and you confront the thugs depending on how you've done your quest. And in the end, after all is said and done, you come back, and then all of a sudden, there's this miraculous change. So, Wayward starts out as a dirty, filthy mess. There's trash everywhere. And you come back, and there's a jukebox, and there's lights, and all the mess is cleaned up. There's tables set up. The bandstand is set up. There's people in here. And it's actually rebuilt. It's renewed, rejuvenated. And so it got me to thinking, isn't the whole point of us coming out of the vault, like, aren't we supposed to be rebuilding Appalachia? So why not offer a series of quests that allow endgame users? Okay, so like a quest line that wouldn't unlock until we've gotten to that endgame point. And this quest line unlocks, and we do things like come here to all these different places. And I'm showing a couple of instances where could be potential, maybe not. It depends. But either way, there are so many buildings throughout Appalachia that they could give us quests where we don't necessarily have to do the cleaning, but we could go in and paint the wall or clean up the trash, or they send us to go find an item that they need to rebuild. What have you? I mean, there's plenty of options there. And the thing is, I know what a lot of you would probably say is, well, if we clean it all up and we rebuild, doesn't that end the game? Well, no, not necessarily, because the thing is, if you're only redoing inside of certain buildings, it's only the building itself that's renewed, not the outside. Outside of those buildings is still a mess. There's still enemies. Those enemies will still respawn. So, if we rebuild the buildings and we clean them up, that could actually open up for a new faction to move in, and then they wouldn't have to worry about adding places on the map. They wouldn't have to expand the map. They could use what already exists to add in new factions. Or better yet, this bunker here that stands empty, that to my knowledge, in the last 2 years of gameplay, has never been used for anything, for events, for quests, nothing. You never come here. It's marked on the map. You come to it, and it's a mess. You could clean this up. A new NPC vendor could move in here. Now, why am I saying that this could be for the casual player? Well, not only is it a more casual quest, but instead of giving us weapons and armor that, let's face it, we're not going to use because we're already endgame. We have what armor and weapons we want, and we're not really worried about those items anyways. Why not give us plans that we can implement in our camps? Because casual players typically like to build camps. Or why not give us some new apparel? Because, again, we're casual players. We're concerned with what our characters look like. So, in the end, what I bring to you is, what would you think if we actually had an option in the game that keeps the casual players in the game as well as the hardcore players? The hardcore players are just as important as the casual players are. And I feel like if Bethesda wants to keep players in the game, they should also focus on casual players just as much as the hardcore players. So with that, my recommendation would be allow us to work on actually doing some cleanup stuff, and in turn, give us stuff that we'll actually implement in the game, that will actually keep us in the game. Because who doesn't like something that's new and shiny? You can't tell me that the next time you get something from the Atom Shop or the scoreboard, the first thing you're not doing is going to your camp and placing it, or crafting that new apparel item and putting it on. Because the last time I checked, everybody that I know, that's exactly what they do. They get something new and shiny and they want to show it off. With that, I thank you each and everyone for coming here and watching this video. I just wanted to share my ideas with you and put it out there and see what you think. Thanks for stopping in.